Can the 49ers win it all with a win in Week 18? If they win in Week 18, they get the number 1 seed. Everything plays through San Francisco. Do you think they can win it all? Everyone, welcome back to Encinas Unfiltered. We're informed, unfiltered, and unmatched. At Encinas Unfiltered, you can expect raw takes, real talk, and sports like you've never heard before. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. That really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And as a reminder, we have our membership program. So we have 4 tiers of our membership program. But for a limited time until February, we're going to offer our Legend tier, which is early access to our shorts, early access to our videos, access to our Discord, where we have multiple channels from gaming, boxing, MMA, football, basketball, baseball, you name it, it's on there. One-on-one fantasy football advice for next year's fantasy football. Definitely check it out. It's really worth it. 99 cents a month for life. Can't really beat that promo. It ends in February. Also, if you're interested in merch, we still have our merch. I'm still working on getting it linked into YouTube, which will happen pretty soon. It's through Shopify, but I just need to find the time to do that. But for now, you can go to the link in our description. You can see all the different merch that we have. We are still working on the winners and losers of fantasy football shirts. Just give me some time on that as well. And I'll be posting those for everyone to vote on. And the winner and losing shirts, it'll be a limited edition drop. Also, as a reminder, we got week 18 of Fantasy Royale. I believe no one has still won. The $1,000 bounty is still live. This week's going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of teams not playing their starters. I mean, the Raiders already started last week, so you know how that goes. But it's a pick'em style tournament. If you guess all the NFL games correctly, you win $1,000. Austin Ekeler himself, this is his company. This is something that he runs. However, if you don't get all the games correct, but you get the most correct out of anybody else, you get a $100 gift card to Homage. If you don't know what Homage is, it's like a retro style clothing brand, but it has NFL, MLB, and NBA. Definitely go check it out. It's pretty cool. I personally like some of the stuff there, so not too bad. And it's absolutely free. So you can check the link in the description to enter, and it's free. It takes about 30 seconds to do. And one more reminder I got for everybody. Well, I got 2 more. So the first one is you need to stay tuned for our fantasy football draft episode that's going to drop in August of 2026. As of right now, it's just X and I. We maybe might bring another person on. Just depends on how everything goes. But we're going to do that 2026 fantasy draft kit. We worked really hard on that 2025 draft kit. I think a lot of people liked it. I think it was pretty good. It would be interesting to see to go back and how our predictions laid out. But we will be doing that again, so look out for that for next year's fantasy. The fantasy football season's over, so now our content is going to shift over to directly or specifically just NFL content, where we're going to be looking at the games, talking about betting, giving you some hot takes. So the fantasy is done, but after February, you can look to see some of the more of the boxing and the MMA and maybe some interviews as well, sprinkled in with maybe a little bit of football, depending on how everything goes. Maybe the draft might spark some creative episodes, I guess, some talking points that we can talk about maybe before the season starts. The last thing I got for you is that the Great Debate has been filmed. I just need to go back and edit it, and it's going to be a lot of editing, but it was pretty fun, pretty productive. Hayden and Xavier absolutely went at it. And I think for right now, I'm going to release it once it's edited to the members of our community. So if you're a member, like I said, it's 99 cents. You can have early access to that video. That's one of the perks. You're going to get early access behind the scenes. And then eventually I'll release it out to the public. But as of right now, I think that is what I'm going to do with it. And then it'll go to the public when it's ready. Today's episode, it's going to look a little bit different because there's no more fantasy football. We're going to do an NFL Week 17 recap. We're going to get into a Week 18 NFL playoff implications. So what that is we're going to look at all the different games and what a win or a loss might mean for some of these playoff teams, because essentially the playoffs are set, but for 2 teams on both the NFC and the AFC, which we'll get into. And after that, we're going to get into our Week 18 football bets, which we're looking at money line, over, under, and spread. And at the very end, we're going to get into our hot takes. All right. We got our Week 17 recap. So first game on Thursday morning, Christmas, we had the Cowboys beat the Commanders 30-23. Honestly, I was a little surprised. A lot closer than I thought. I thought the Cowboys would kind of come out and do something. I mean, the Commanders are hurting. Veteran Josh Johnson, haven't heard that name in a while. He was in at quarterback for the Commanders. Yeah, so his third stringer. It was pretty close. Very surprised, but hey, Cowboys still got the win. Not like it matters anymore. This is the big one, okay? The Vikings upset the Lions 23-10. You know, shout out the boy, the GOAT, Maxx Crosby out there. Third stringer, bro. Dude. Handling it. Jared Goff accounted for 5 turnovers, and the Lions will miss playoffs as a result of it. That is tough. That's wild. I really thought they had a shot, man. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, lately it's been coming down to defenses a lot, and that defense just has not lived up to the caliber that it should be. And I think I think in all honesty, it also kind of comes into the running back situation because they do have Jahmyr Gibbs, they have Montgomery. Why aren't you feeding those boys, dude? It's been the call all season that these teams, for some reason, are not feeding their running backs. And, once we get to the game, you'll see what happens when you feed a running back, essentially named Derrick Henry.
Right. Right. Very good point. I'd also like to add that I think Ben Johnson's departure played a big role in that offense not being as productive.
Well, see, and you bring up the point I guess I was trying to cryptically make was that the running back position helps that time of possession, so your defense isn't on the field as long, right? So back then, yeah, their defense might have been just as bad, if not worse, or maybe a small bit better. But the time of possession was so much with those running backs just eating out the clock, that the other team never really had enough time to score these types of points. Where now you see the Lions, they're not running as much. The time is staying on the clock. And now the other team is having a lot of opportunities, and coaches aren't really going to freak out when they have a lot of time left. They're going to freak out when the other team just starts eating up the clock. So that might have been something, but Ben Johnson obviously had a part to play.
Yeah.
The fact that they go from, potentially being the best team in the NFL to not even making playoffs. So there was obviously a factor there.
Right. Yeah. And I think we will talk about it a little bit more in our hot takes, but we'll see. We kind of addressed it now, but we'll see when we get there. The next game, which was Thursday night, that's so weird. There's 3 games on Christmas. You had the Broncos beat the Chiefs 20-13. Honestly, I thought the Broncos would play a little bit better considering they're on the 3rd string quarterback for Kansas City right now. I couldn't even name him. I'm gonna be honest with you. But that's been the Broncos all year, right? Their offense has been kind of whatever. Their defense has been great. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the playoffs because I still think they're probably like my biggest pretender right now. But who knows? Their defense is I would say arguably the best, or at least one of the best right now in the playoffs. So next game, we had the Texans beat the Chargers 20-16. Very good game, back and forth. Texans D is legit. That's literally what I have in my notes. They're good, bro. They're literally they're carrying that team right now because that offense did not look good. So that'll be fun to watch. Next, we had the Ravens beat the Packers 41-24. The Ravens kept their playoff hopes alive for this week in Week 18, where they have to go and beat the Steelers. Both teams had quarterbacks or backup quarterbacks playing, but I don't know. That was a weird one. Malik Willis was playing good. It's just, I think, unfortunate. I think injuries, Micah not being there. Unfortunately for the Packers, they're just banged up right now. I would wonder what would happen if Jordan Love was there. Not Malik played fine, but just having your leader there maybe would have changed a little bit of things. But I'm really looking forward to that Ravens versus Steelers game this week. That's going to be Sunday night, so look forward to that. Next, we had the Dolphins beat the Bucs 20-17. The Bucs needed a win, man. The Bucs, they should have won this game. I don't know what's happening.
The Dolphins, though.
Quinn Ewers, baby. Who would have known? Who would have known? But thankfully for the Bucs, they play Carolina in the Week 18 divisional matchup and for the last playoff spot. But if they win and Atlanta loses, then they go into the playoff spot. But if Atlanta wins against the Saints this week, the Bucs are out. Cool. So it's up to Atlanta. Yeah, and we'll get about that in the playoff implications. But things get a little interesting. For sure. The next game, we had the Patriots beat the Jets 42-10. I mean, we're not surprised at this point. No. But Drake May threw 5 tutties like it was no one's business. And of course, it was against me in fantasy football playoffs. So what the hell am I supposed to do? I was like,
I was about to say, dude, if you went against anybody on the Patriots and Derrick Henry, it was over.
Bro, I had a Drake made Stephon Diggs duo, bro. Just tear me a new one. Yeah. Lost by 4. It was pretty bad. But, it is what it is.
That's
Life
fantasy,
moves on.
Boys. That's
fantasy. That was expected, though. Like, Drake May needed to come out there and do that. Next game, the Browns beat the Steelers 13-6. Wild. That shouldn't have happened. In a game where we didn't see Myles Garrett break the sack record, but Myles Garrett made a comment after the game, which I thought was hilarious. He said that the Steelers were more worried about him not getting the sack record than having an offense. I thought that was a good
That's
little
funny.
jab. Pretty funny, but now the Steelers need to go and beat the Ravens
It
for
was
that
it was
playoff
funny
spot.
because Shedeur Sanders, his only touchdown that he threw that game was horribly,
Mhm.
horribly questionable, and that was not a touchdown. He was 1 yard out. He
Well,
was 1
the
yard out. So
stats show that
they
the boys
felt
scored a
bad.
touchdown.
They felt bad for him. They were like, I know X and Hayden got a debate coming
Oh,
on. We
yeah,
got to give
yeah.
him a chance. So they gave him the pity point. It's good.
Oh man, that's why they did it for Hayden.
That's why they did. They knew. They watched the
Wow.
show, dude. They watched the
Oh
content.
man.
I get it.
Only if. The next game we had the Jags beat the Colts 23-17. It was a must-win game for the Colts. The Colts are officially eliminated, and Philip Rivers is done. He said he's done. He's not coming back.
Yep.
Kind of wish that he would have just stayed retired because he maybe would have been on the Hall of Fame ballot this year. Kind of ruined that eligibility. He's going to wait another 5 years, but he gets 5 more years of health insurance. So,
All
hey,
right.
kudos to that.
The boy knows.
Jack should have done a lot better against the Colts.
They should have done a lot more, but it is a divisional game. So
That's
we
true.
know how that goes.
But this next game was a very good game. The Saints beat the Titans 34-26. That was a good back and forth game, man. Both teams are really young offensively. They're showcasing great talent. And honestly, I really like their futures. Obviously, I think Cam Moore needs to get some better guys in there. But Tyler Shuck looks good too, man. Tyler Shuck's the guy there. I don't think anyone's going to question that now.
Yeah, there's no way he isn't at this point. And I remember, dude, everybody was talking crap. Shuck had that one throw in the combine where it was just horribly off. Looked like a high school kid trying to chuck a football there. But once again, another reason of why someone went before Shedeur Sanders.
Well, that's for the debate. We're not going to get into the debate, okay?
I'm just
you're still taking shots at the kid. I know you're still taking shots at the kid.
I just want him to know that the facts are still raining in on him.
That's funny. I like that. They're young offensively. In the sense that they are teams are hurt. Obviously, the Titans are way more younger than they are, but I like that Shuck is a young quarterback with a good arm. Jawan has done good this year. Chris Olave was very relevant this year. I believe he was top 15 receiver this year. So it's looking good. If they can get Alvin Kamara healthy, they might be a playoff team. That division's up for grabs every year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. The next game, we had the Seahawks beat the Panthers 27-10. This was what was supposed to happen. This isn't a surprise. Right. I think most people were hoping Bryce Young would have a Rams type game. Well, the Seahawks have a better defense than the Rams. That's not a surprise. They have better corners. So that's why we didn't see that. But it was competitive. Carolina needs to beat Tampa Bay in Week 18, and Seattle remains the number 1 seed for now. And I will say it just like that for now. Okay. Next. Oh, yeah. I'm leaving that in there just like that. Next, the Bengals beat the Cardinals 37-14. Talk about a whooping. All I can say, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, is what could have been if Burrow didn't get hurt this year, man. That team looks good when he is on the field. When he is not on the field, I think the Bengals are better than the Steelers and the Ravens are this year. I'll tell you that.
Well, to be fair, Joe Flacco was doing pretty well. So
yeah, that's the
but
same.
Joe Burrow
the Bengals
is better, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think they had the best, going into the AFC. I think they would have the best offense on paper, statistically, if they were in the playoffs this year.
Yeah,
not defensively, right? Because people are hurt and they haven't been that good lately. But offensively, they fit pretty good in with the NFC. I'll tell you that. All these big offensive teams with shitty defenses minus the Seahawks.
Dude, that's the Bills every single year.
Right. So it'll be interesting. It would have been interesting to see what happened there. Next, oh man, we really need to talk about this. Okay. The Giants beat the Raiders 34-10. Okay. Both these guys, this is probably the boo-boo game of the week, or it was the boo-boo game of the week.
Yeah.
Both of these teams are fighting for the number 1 pick. The Giants did it again where they lost the number 1 pick. But mind you, the Raiders sent home Bowers for surgery. They sent home Crosby, who was later shooting basketball at his house, so he wasn't that hurt. This seems clearly tanking. So I wonder if the NFL is going to do something about it. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But it was just interesting that they were starting to send their starters home. But it looks like
Yep.
they're going to have the number 1 pick, and I wonder if they're going to go Mendoza with the first pick. I think that'll be a mistake,
Mhm.
but hey, I think they need a quarterback at this point, so
They need a
it is what
quarterback,
it
yep.
is. Yeah. The next game, we had the Eagles beat the Bills 13-12. It was a good game. It was competitive. If you are into the X's and O's of football, I mean, you love the game, right? You got a nice, strong defensive
Oh, yeah.
battle.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't good for the casuals, but honestly, I personally think this could be a possible Super Bowl matchup. So we will see what
Yeah.
happens. If the Eagles can get it figured out, I wouldn't be surprised if we see this in the Super Bowl.
I
So
was more surprised on how it ended. I did not expect Josh out. I mean, I understand that even good quarterbacks miss that throw, but normally, like, we'll miss a throw that they wish they could take back, right? You know, and we
right.
all see it, right? That one throw where they're like, "Oh, they always make that throw." But normally, it never happens during crunch time like that.
Right. I mean,
So that was interesting.
yeah, I mean, I think that offense though lately has been really reliant on James Cooks. So it was unfortunate they weren't feeding him as much. But either way, it was
Yeah.
a good game. I think both teams do need to drastically improve though for
Oh, yeah.
either one of them to win if they go to the Super Bowl. Now we're going to get into Sunday night's game. So this was the Niners beat the Bears 42-38. I called it. That's all I'm going to say. I called it. Okay. It was purely offensive though. Quite the opposite.
Oh, yeah.
All offense, no defense. They
Yeah.
weren't really
That
throwing to
was
Lenore.
interesting.
I'll say that. Yeah, it was a great game though. The 49ers still control their destiny to be the number 1 seed and make the entire postseason run through San Francisco, but they have to beat Seattle. Thankfully, they're playing at home because playing in Seattle is tough, as the Rams know. But that would be a Week 18 matchup, which will be Saturday night.
So, really, the main thing was I was just, I mean, Brock Purdy did absolute garbage first, and then all of a sudden, boy
Oh, his pick 6 or
turns it
yeah.
on. I don't know. That was definitely just
Well,
odd.
yeah. I mean, I have this running theory. So I have my buddy Chris, who I've interviewed on the show before. He was like, "Why are you
Mhm.
so pessimistic about the Niners or Brock Purdy?" I go, "Look, I already said it last week and I'll say it every week. Brock Purdy's a great guy. It's nothing against Brock Purdy. But whenever I hype that dude up, every single time I go, I'm going to get on the train. I'm going on the angel track. I'm just going to start being delusional as hell. He falls off and we lose. So I can't. I'm going to be pessimistic until if we win the Super Bowl, then I won't be. I'll buy Brock Purdy jersey and then I'll never be pessimistic about him again. But until then, I have to be because the Juju's, I'm not going to mess up the Juju. Okay. So
Fair enough.
that's where I'm at with it. So
Fair enough.
expect me to do that later in the hot take section because I am going to be pessimistic. I'm definitely going to be playing devil's advocate on
Fair
that one.
enough.
All right. Monday night game. This shouldn't have happened. I'm going to tell you that right now. This should not have happened. The Falcons upset the Rams 27-24. The Rams were losing. They were getting blanked for the most part, most of that game until the second half. I have to double check. I think we'll get into the playoff implications, but I don't know if it's going to affect anything with Seattle or San Francisco now. Bebo was trying to tell me that if the Niners lose, then the Rams would have the 5 seed, but I don't think that's true because the Niners have a better conference record and divisional
Right.
record. So we'll look into the playoff implications, which is from the NFL website. So we'll get the facts about what's going to happen. But yeah, the Rams literally fumbled the bag on that one. So I don't know what's going on. Stafford had a terrible game. We'll talk about that later because is that going to affect his
Yeah.
MVP odds? Like, there's just a lot. It was not good.
Yeah.
Like, Corum got hurt. Like, it wasn't good for him. And Devontae's still not playing. So,
Yeah.
but actually, this is a good segue to just talk about it. So we're going to get into our Week 18 NFL playoff implications. And I said, why not? Because we're here. We won't talk about the NFC first, though, but we'll talk about the AFC. So for the AFC, the only teams that have not clinched yet is the Ravens and the Steelers because we have to wait for that game. But for the
Right.
Broncos to get the number 1 seed in the first round bye, they would need to win, or they would need to tie, or have a New England tie, or New England needs a tie, or New England needs a loss, or Jacksonville needs a loss. So it's looking pretty good for them at this point. A lot of different ways for them to end up with that 1 seed. For the Patriots to get the 1 seed, they would need to win and have a Denver loss or a tie, or New England would need to tie and Denver needs to lose. For Jacksonville to get the number 1 seed, Jacksonville would need to win and they would need Denver and New England to lose. And for them to clinch the South title, they would need to win or tie, or the Houston needs to lose or tie. So now we're getting into some of these divisional titles. So Houston clinches the AFC South with a win and a Jacksonville loss. And like we talked about, the Ravens clinched the AFC North with the win against the Steelers, and likewise for the Steelers. So the Steelers win or tie, they will win the AFC North and have that 4 seed there. Next, we got the NFC, and this is where it gets a little interesting. So all the teams have clinched here, minus the NFC South, which we're looking at that Week 18 game, which is going to be the Bucs versus the Carolina Panthers. So the Niners, they play against Seattle, so they'll get the number 1 seed in the bye if they win. Just straight up, if they win, they get the title and they get the number 1 seed, and it goes through San Francisco throughout the entire playoffs. The Seahawks would either need to win or tie to get that number 1 seed. Pretty simple. Tells you straight up what needs to happen. The Panthers, like we said, we need to win or tie, or they need Atlanta to win. So if Atlanta wins, and I believe the Atlanta plays on Sunday, but if Carolina if Carolina loses but Atlanta wins, Carolina would still get the title. So the Bucs are hoping the Saints go in there and another divisional game
just
and
handle it.
Right. The divisional matchup, Tampa Bay needs that win, and they need Atlanta loss or a tie in order to clinch the play. Those are the NFL implications of what we're looking at. I think the seeds for the most part are pretty set. So before I moved into our football bets, I just kind of wanted to talk about some things because these are kind of important things to talk about before betting on the Week 18 games. Week 18 gets weird because you don't know who's playing and who's not. And I think that's the biggest what ifs. So if there's something to play for, like Niners and Seattle, obviously they're playing their starters. This is also why it's important that you shouldn't be doing a Week 18 fantasy football for your championship because you don't know who the heck is playing and who's not. So if you're playing in Week 18, I am sorry, you need to talk to your commissioner about that. But I know that the Chargers are looking to, well, they are sitting Justin Herbert and Trey Lance is starting. I know that the Eagles are still trying to decide if they're going to start their starters or not. I think it really just kind of depends at this point because if they have nothing to play for, then they're probably just like, who's the better matchup, I guess, is what they're looking at. And then Cowboys are going to play some, but it's going to be limited. Packers are also going to sit some of their players with Jordan Love still being hurt, Malik Willis. They have nothing to play for essentially. So any team that has nothing to play for, they're going to be sitting their guys. They don't want people to get hurt. So just kind of be mindful of that when you are placing those bets. For our DGens out there, we got our Week 18 betting odds. Here we go. We're looking at the money line, the over, under, and the spread. Like we do every week, we will continue to do this until the season is over. Saturday, the first game. I'm honestly going to be watching a lot of football on Saturday. I'll tell you that. The Panthers are playing the Bucs. The Bucs are favored by 2.5. Bucs are at home. The total's 43.5. You know what? I'm going to go over. I think it's going to be a big game. They're going to have me taking a lot of risk. This is for everything. I do think though. Oh, I don't know, man. My heart says Bucs at -2.5, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Carolina. But I would take Bucs at 2.5. That's the smart money.
You know what? I agree with the over. So you could definitely agree with us there. I'm actually going to go Carolina.
Ooh.
I got faith in them.
Wow. Next, we have the Seahawks favored by 1.5 versus San Francisco. That's wild. The total's 49.5.
As it should be.
Yeah, I'm going over on that because San Francisco's all offense, so that's all they're going to have. It's going to be pretty high scoring. Seattle's going to score. Let's just call it a spade at this point. But I like San Francisco at +1.5. They already beat them in week 1 with Brock Purdy, so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't do it again. Obviously, Seattle has a great defense, but I think this is the NFL script, as the people, the conspiracy theorists call it. This is a script. San Francisco going into San Francisco, so for the playoffs.
I agree with the over, honestly. Yeah, I can agree with the over. I am going to go Seahawks, though.
That's fair. Next, we have Cleveland versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati's favored by -7.5. I don't like that spread. I'd probably go -2.5 because Myles Garrett will be playing for his sack record. That's a little high on the spread, but I do think Bengals win this game, and the total's 44.5. And I'm going to go over just because Bengals don't have a defense and a great offense.
I agree with the Bengals. I'm actually going to go under.
Okay. Next game,
I don't expect the Browns to hold up their end. of the deal.
We'll see. I mean, it just depends who's playing. I mean, they have done it before, so
Shador's
I think it'd
playing,
be
so what do you?
yeah, it'd just be interesting to see if Fanon's playing and Judy, and I just think the Bengals defense is Swiss cheese like the Ravens, so I think
No,
there's
that's fair.
potential there. That's why I went the over.
Yep.
Next game we got the Saints versus the Falcons. The Falcons are favored by 3. Ooh. For the sake of argument of Carolina winning the division, I will go Atlanta at -2.5. But my head says +3 for the Saints. And the total 43.5, I would go under.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Next game, we got Cowboys versus Giants. Cowboys are favored at -4.5 versus New York. This is a weird one because I don't know who's playing, who's not. I would probably still take Cowboys at -2.5 because I still think New York still wants that better pick.
Right.
But the total of 51.5, I might have to go under on that. That's just
Definitely
me thinking the starters
under.
don't stay in. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Next game, we got Tennessee versus Jacksonville. Whoa, look at that spread. So Jacksonville needs to play. Okay. They need it. They need to secure that division. -12.5 is crazy work. I'd probably take -6.5. I think that's probably more fair. I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, like if you're going to bet this game just like that, I'd probably go +12.5. I don't see a reason why the Jacksonville's going to beat the Titans by that much. It's a divisional game. So the total's 47.5. I'm going to go under on that.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville does beat them by that, but I will go. I'll actually go over.
Over. Okay.
Yep.
Next game, we got the Packers versus the Vikings. The Vikings are favored by -6.5. I think you can go to -2.5 and be comfortable, but I do think the Vikings win because the Packers are going to rest their players. They have nothing to play for. They're locked into the 7th seed, so it doesn't really matter at this point. The total at 37.5, I'm going to go under on that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Next game, we got the Colts versus the Texans. The Texans are favored by 10. That's a little high, I think. I know Phillip Rivers isn't there anymore. I'd probably take +10 on that. That doesn't mean that the Texans are losing. That just means that the score is going to be a lot closer than 10 points. The total's 39.5. I'm going to go under on that.
I agree.
Okay. Next, we got the Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are favored by 7. Ooh, I don't know if I'd bet the spread on this one because I don't think the starters are going to be playing, so that kind of concerns me. I would say probably stay away from that in general. I think the Bills still win. I just don't see a world where the Jets win in general, but I'm going to go under on the total.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Next game, we got the Chargers versus the Broncos. Broncos are favored by -12.5. So I'll tell you this right now. I'm going +12.5. Doesn't mean the Chargers are going to win. It just means that I think the game's going to be a lot closer. Trey Lance is a way different quarterback than Justin Herbert is, and he uses a lot of his legs. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Broncos can do. But I didn't see anywhere saying that Quentin Johnson sitting, Keenan Allen sitting, Ladd McConkey sitting, Omari Hampton sitting. I didn't see anything of that. It was just Justin Herbert. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers can sneak out a win here. Or if they don't, it'll maybe be competitive at least. So that +12.5 looks really good for them. But the total at 37.5, I'm going to go under. I don't know if I trust that.
I agree.
Okay. Next game, we got the Chiefs versus the Raiders. Both teams playing their backups. The Chiefs are favored by -5.5. I would stay away from the spread. I know the Raiders are absolutely tanking. Like it's not even a forethought anymore. They're just doing it. They're daring the NFL to do something about it. I don't like -5.5, so stay away from the spread or go -2.5 on that. The total is 36.5. I'm going to go under on that.
I agree.
Next game, we got. Okay. I think I went too far. Okay. Next game, we got Commanders versus Eagles. Eagles are favored by 7. So we don't know if they're playing quite yet. So I would say Eagles at -2.5. I think they can still get it done with their backups. But the total at 41.5, I'm going to go under on that.
Yep. I agree.
Next game, we got Detroit versus Chicago. Chicago's favored by -2.5. I don't know if the Lions are even going to play the start. I don't know. That's going to be a weird one. It just depends on what Dan Campbell wants to do. If he wants to kind of shove it to Ben Johnson or not, and hurt them. I mean, in the standings, I guess. So they don't have the 2 seed and they have the 3 seed. But I think I'd still take Chicago at -2.5. The total's 50.5. I'm gonna go over on that just because I didn't like what their defenses were showing.
I agree.
Okay. Next game, we got Miami versus New England. New England is playing this game. They're favored by -11.5. That's a
Mhm.
little high. I'd probably take +11.5. Just because we don't know. These divisional games get weird, especially with the Patriots.
Right.
Total's 45.5. I'm gonna go under on that.
I'm actually gonna go over, but I do agree with the Patriots.
Okay. Next, we got the Arizona Cardinals versus the Rams. The Rams are favored by -7.5, but it sounds like they might sit their starters. So if that is the case, then I would probably I don't know, man. Who's their backup? Jimmy G? Oof.
Mhm.
I'll say this. I'll do a caveat. If they play, McVay's been he's pretty upset about that loss. So if they play, then I would say for sure Rams at -6.5 all day. Total of 46.5. I'd go under. If they don't play, I still think the total will be under, but I think the Cardinals will win that game.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. Yeah.
I guess just because we don't know yet. It's still early in the week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next, this is the big game. We have Baltimore favored by 3.5 versus the Steelers. Sunday night football. It's in Pittsburgh. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. The total is 41.5. I think we're going to go under on that just because Steelers still have some kind of defense. It's still there. It's a shell, but it's still
Right.
there. And the Steelers don't have DK Metcalf, but Lamar is hurt. So if Lamar doesn't play, I don't know if Huntley gets that done against the Steelers personally. Um, the Steelers don't have a defense, but I just like Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh. It's tough, dude. It's kind of like Seattle. It's hard to beat teams at home, especially teams like that. So I like the
Yeah.
plus
And
3.5 for them.
it's kind of the crappy part because you watched the Ravens offense before, like last week, and you're just like, okay, there it is. It's back. I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna go Baltimore and I'm gonna go under.
Okay. Alrighty. So that is the end of our week 18 football bets. And as a reminder, we will do this for the playoffs as well. And next week we'll probably talk about the playoff brackets and some of our predictions and whatnot. It's like a March Madness, but for football, I guess, is what we did last year. So next we're gonna get some hot takes. And actually X has a couple of hot takes today. So I'm really interested in see where this
Ooh.
conversation goes and what we're gonna do here. But X, go ahead and take it away. Give us some of your hot takes for this week 18.
So one of them is: are the Rams pretenders, or was it just a bad game?
Man, uh it's a two-edged sword, right? I think Devontae not being there obviously exploits them a lot because then Puka's getting doubles, so they're going to rely on some of their backup receivers who are not proven. I'm surprised Tutu Atwell's not getting involved. Or you're throwing the Colby Parkinson because Tyler Higbee's still hurt, and he's a fine tight end, but
Yeah.
I think these are a lot of these younger guys. So, the heavy reliance on Puka when Devontae's there, like they can't just double Puka because then Devontae's going to be wide open for, that's what kind of makes our offense click. It's like you have two number ones there.
Right.
What are you going to do? You can't double anybody or else you're going
Yeah.
to get cooked. So I think offensively that was a problem. There should have been no world where they lost to the Falcons. I think Coach Sean McVay was absolutely embarrassed, and I think that's why he's on the fence of whether or not he wants the starters to play. If I were him, I would probably not. I just think you should rest your guys up and for the playoffs. Um, I think they have pieces in their team that could be very pretender esque. If they go into the playoffs and Devontae is not healthy, it's not going to look good for them. I don't care who they play. It's going to be tough.
Right.
Their defense, especially in their secondary, has a lot of question marks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. That would be
Right.
my biggest concern with them. But I like their defensive line. I think their defensive line is very good. They have very good running backs. If Blake Corum can come back, obviously Matthew Stafford can figure it out. He's a potential or possible or is a Hall of Famer in my opinion. He's
You're right.
played very good throughout his career, and he has the top two receivers in football. I think if
Right.
healthy, right? So, what do you think? Do you think it was a bad game, or do you think they can be legit pretenders this year?
Uh, honestly, I kind of think it was just a bad game.
Mm,
Sean McVay, he's smart dude, and sometimes I think he's too smart for his own good. It ends up kind of backfiring on him. But with the Rams healthy, I mean, obviously their weak point has always been their defense compared to their offense, right? I don't think that Blake Corum falling out is an issue because we saw Kyron Williams. He started busting off 15, 20-yard runs, 20-yard catches, like almost like 3-4 plays in a row. So Kyron Williams is still the guy. Like I said, it's just this weird, dumb trend that I hope ends of this 2 running back committee bull crap. The NFL better knock that crap off because it's really stupid. And I don't know if that's like an organizational thing where all the owners got together and was like, we don't want to pay these dudes, so we're gonna do this.
That's the conspiracy right there.
I don't care. I don't care. There's no reason. No statistics back it. Statistics.
Well, there is one, and I think it's you look at Ben Johnson's team the last 2 years when he was coaching the Detroit Lions. That's right, the only anomaly.
See, here's the thing, though, is Ben Johnson isn't even doing that now in Chicago. He's not doing it.
Well, Nagai and DeAndre Swift have been pretty good, dude.
Not to the consistency. Not to the
Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery, but you're talking about way different talent levels when it comes to running backs.
The problem is, though, is DeAndre Swift is the clear number one. He doesn't really come out many plays. Where in the Detroit offense, they were just alternating left or right. They didn't care how they were doing it. But regardless, the Rams healthy, they should be okay. But I think that showed a lot of chinks in the armor, and we're going to see if other teams capitalize on it. So my next question is, who do you have for Coach of the Year?
Man, do you want my bias answer, or do you want me to? Can I give you two?
If you say Shanahan, no.
Well, I'll tell you why, but I think I'll give you two. I'll give you my biased answer, because I don't think any other coach has done it like Kyle. Honestly, like there's times where I'm frustrated with him, but he's had no defense this year. He's had no offense. He had a backup coming and brought Mac Jones, but it really shows you how QB friendly his offensive system is with receivers, running backs. Obviously, CMC is like the greatest player for our team, but he's probably the only coach, maybe one of few that could do it. Maybe I would say Andy Reid could probably do it. Maybe Vrabel. Vrabel's another guy who I'll talk about in a second. But I really do have to give him a lot of credit. I don't think any other coach would have been able to do that with a bunch of backups. No Ayuk, no Ricky, no Kittle. I mean, dude, it was tough, and there could possibly be the number one seed in the NFC, which is wild to me. But not thinking biasly, I would say for me, it was probably Mike Vrabel, just because of what he's done with New England. Drake May, young quarterback. That team's really young. Trayvon Henderson was a great pickup. Stephon Diggs, we'll see what happens. Hopefully he gets to play this year. We can maybe talk about that in a second. But their defense is very good. Vrabel's really set them up. I'm very impressed by them. So to me, that would be like my 1A, 1B. Kyle, because of bias, but also because of what he's done, and no other team has done that this year with that kind of situation. But Vrabel, I think, has helped rebuild that organization, who I think is still young. I think they need a year or two, but they're going to be going to the Super Bowl here pretty soon, in my opinion. Is that who you also thought was Mike Vrabel?
For Coach of the Year, yeah. I mean, there's no way it couldn't be. There's only one other guy that I would have maybe compete for it, but I'll talk about that in a second, which will segue into the next question.
Okay.
But Mike Vrabel obviously just turned that entire team around, like horrifically quick, really well. He'll win his second Coach of the Year award. So, I mean, you pretty much laid it out there. Vrabel's done everything that he needs to do, and everything great, in my opinion. There's no way that he doesn't win that award. My next question would be, who would you pick as your rookie head coach?
Oh, rookie head coach. Oh,
yeah.
So we're looking at Ben Johnson, Brian Schottenheimer, Liam Cohen, Kellen Moore, Aaron Glenn. Oh, it's
so for me, yeah, that's what I thought. So for me, it's 100% Ben Johnson. Like, there's no question. Dude, horrific turnaround for that organization in the first year there. Got Caleb Williams playing on a high level. No way he's not that candidate, in my opinion.
So I think for me, I mean, Ben Johnson's been kind of up and down. I think their team has shown some bright spots, but Caleb has also had some low spots as well against good defenses. That's the only thing that concerns me with him. Obviously, he looked good against the 49ers. 49ers don't have a defense right now. To me, it's Liam Cohen. That's the Jacksonville head coach. Yeah. Only because I was surprised at how much their defense have turned around and how good they were this year. They were a top 10 defense. I think it might have been top 5, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence is playing good, dude. Like, you know, I'm not trying to hype the kid up because there's going to be a time, probably very soon, where it's all going to be over, right? It's going to happen. It happens every year. But the way that he's turned around that organization to give everybody hope, and the offense is clicking. They acquired Jacoby Myers, which has been great for him. Extended him. Jerry Jones, that's how you do it. You grab a player and you extend him when he's doing good on your team. You don't wait, okay? That's not a shot. That's just facts. But I think what he's done with that team and possibly having them win their division when they didn't look too good and Travis Hunter hasn't really been a factor this year, and that was the number 1 pick. So it kind of just shows you that he kind of united that team. But I definitely see what you mean by Ben Johnson. But for me, I think just what he's done with Jacksonville for me is like kind of just eye-opening, if that makes sense.
No, for sure. So next question then, who's your pick for the best team in the NFC and AFC?
So when you say that question, are you talking about seeding wise, or do you think roster wise, like heading into the playoffs?
If you had to pick the best team in the AFC and NFC that could win the Super Bowl right now, who would it be?
You know what? Let me pull up the playoff picture here since we're talking about it, and let's look. Man, it's tough because I think we talked about it earlier. Like, both sides, like, they're very different. Whereas the NFC is very offensive heavy, as far, like, not completely, but for the most part. Whereas the AFC is very defensive heavy. You know, I still like the Bills, but the Bills are at 7, and if Josh Allen plays the way he does, that doesn't give me confidence. I've been talking a lot of crap on this team. There we go. I've been talking about a lot of crap on this team all year, but I think the Broncos are the best defensive team. I know. The Broncos are the best defensive team, so I think they are the best team because it all depends on Bo Nix. If Bo Nix can get it going, they're good. It's all on him. But defense is solid, bro. I mean, I like Houston's defense. Don't get me wrong, but I'm taking Broncos defense all day. And that's taken him to the show before when Von Miller was in his prime. So nothing's going to count me differently. And you get a Hall of Fame coach. So that's my pick for the AFC. I'll let you go to the AFC before I talk about my NFC, just so we're AFC, on the same page.
Obviously got the Patriots. The Patriots are playing really good ball. Dude, they're playing so good ball. And even though their defense isn't ranking high, their defense comes in clutch when it matters. So in my opinion, that will always supersede any type of defensive ranking, is when the defense comes in clutch, keeps their offense alive enough to be able to win the game. Drake May is on a hot streak right now. And if they lose Stephon Diggs, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, and that's, I think, why I kept them out, is that we'll talk about him in a little bit and kind of say what had happened. But like I said, I think they're a young team. They're good. I just don't think they're there yet. They're very close. They're a couple pieces away, in my opinion. Probably getting like a better, younger receiver 1, in my opinion. For the NFC, though, man, this is going to hurt.
You're going to say the same team I'm going to.
Probably. So I would have told you the Eagles, but I don't think they've been playing very good as of right now. I think on paper they look good, but I think when you see them play on the field, it doesn't look good. I think the Niners are going to be the number 1 seed. I know there's a lot of caveats. I'm sorry. I think the Niners are going to be the number 1 seed. That is just my opinion. That's just how the script's being laid out. If they were healthy, I would say otherwise, but that is not the case. So I think with going into playoffs, I know who's going to be out in the field, to me, it's the Los Angeles Rams. They have the best offensive football. No one's going to tell me any different. They have the best 2 receivers. They have a really good running back. Obviously, it's not CMC, but and they have one of the best defensive lines, maybe besides like Houston. It's just their secondary is questionable. That's a little sussy, as the kids call it. But to me, I've said from the beginning of the season, I said this is the year that the Los Angeles Rams are going to win. And if they can go into playoffs healthy, they're going to be a scary team.
For me, it's actually Seattle. I would say
Really?
Seattle.
Oh,
Yep.
interesting.
Believe it or not, I got faith in the boy Darnold. You know, I understand. We've seen what happens when he gets into playoffs, but I feel like he's in an environment where he feels confident, he feels comfortable enough to be able to do that. He's got his, you know, his blanket over there, Smith Najigba. He's got, you know, unfortunately for fantasy purposes, they suck. But for non-fantasy purposes, Kenneth Walker. So I like their team. Obviously, yes, I think the Rams have a better offense, but defensively is, I think, what sets them above the Rams, in my opinion. And watching them play against Atlanta and struggle, that left a sour taste in my mouth. So
I see where you're coming from, and
right.
I hate to play devil's advocate or be
No,
rebuttal you here, but I will say this: Seattle only won. Mind you, they were at home, which is a big advantage for them. It always has been. Obviously, it's not Legion of Boom anymore, but they didn't have Devontae, bro. That's the big thing. They didn't have Devontae, and they're not going to do that if Devontae's there, bro. They ain't doubling Puka.
But being the devil's advocate, the 49ers have also had the easiest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah, we beat both the Rams and the Seahawks.
That's division, though.
Well, right, but the Niners. I mean, people have the Niners as the number one power ranking team right now, which is wild. I don't agree with it, but that's how they have them ranked.
I'm just saying.
I think Seattle is very suspect. I do believe they have the best defense. Maybe not on paper, because I really like the Eagles' defense. If they get everybody there and Jalen Carter's not spitting on people, throw back to like week 1. But I think that it's going to be interesting. It's all about matchups. I think if they play the Eagles, I think the Eagles can beat them. I think honestly, it just depends what team shows up for playoffs. But I think the two big teams, in my opinion, that like as a Niners fan, I wouldn't want them to play is the Eagles or the Rams. If one of these other teams like the Bears, Seattle, or Packers can somehow squeak out a win, that'd be the greatest gift of all. Because you know, I don't think we beat Rams at our house. The Rams beat us at our house all the time. So
I got you.
That's just kind of where I'm coming from on that.
All right. So my last question is, if you don't know, the Raiders benched Maxx Crosby. They benched him for the last game. They told him, hey, he had a lingering meniscus tear. So they said, hey, get a surgery, fix that up, go from there. Well, apparently, Maxx Crosby didn't take that news very well. Got very upset. Started throwing a little bit of a fit. Is what it is. So my question to you is, does Maxx Crosby have a right to be upset, or did the organization make the right call? Which they also decided to bench Brock Bowers as well.
Well, they put him on IR. So Brock Bowers was hurt. I don't know if they put Crosby on IR or not, or they just told him that he's not playing. Yeah, I know for sure Bowers, they put him on IR. But I will say this. It's both, but I'm more leaning towards Maxx Crosby. But I'll explain why. So does Maxx Crosby have a right to be upset? Absolutely. He's a guy who's out there who wants to play. He's making a lot of money. He's very passionate, very prideful of his team. He's committed to taking a pay cut to stay with the Raiders. Why? Because he's a organizational man. He's a company man. Am I surprised? Yeah, because I think they suck. But hey, to each their own. And I think for him to sacrifice his body every week, for them to do that to him when he's not asking, even though he's hurt, he's not asking to be to not play. He wants to play. So I think if your player wants to play, you guys are not playing for anything. I get it. But if he wants to be out there on the field and he wants to participate, let him. But did the organization do the right call? I mean, yeah, but not in the sense of protecting their players, because I do that thing. That's part of it. But that's not the bigger picture here. The bigger picture is that they're tanky, and it's very visible. And I think that's where the narrative needs to go, is that they're tanking, and that basically the NFL doesn't really have a rule for that. So either the Raiders are doing it to the point where they're going to create a rule for it, or the Raiders are just like, hey, we're tanking. We want the number one pick. It is what it is. Find us, do something. I mean, I don't think the NFL is going to take the number one pick away. But I'll tell you what, if they did something, I'm sure no other team will do that again.
Right.
that would make a statement. So, I mean, I know I said yes to both, but um, I see it from both sides. But I understand Max's frustration, and for me, like if I was in that situation, I'd be upset too if I wanted to go out there and play because I'm a competitive person as an athlete. You know,
Yeah.
what do you
So
what do you think?
I agree. I think he should be upset, and I think he has a right to be upset because, especially nonetheless, too, he. I mean, I'm pretty sure in his deal he's got incentives too, so that also probably screwed him out of that.
Mm,
Uh, I mean, it also. I mean, there's a whole lot of factors, but when you're playing on a losing team, like, that's just horrible. Like, you have pride in what you do. You have pride in the organization, kinda like you said, like a bit of a company man. So, the fact that they wanna take you out when, like you said, you know, dude's sacrificing his body every single day, like, that's kind of a giant slap in the face. So, I don't know. I'd be pretty upset too, and I think he's right to be. But I also understand it from a business perspective. Like, bro, this dude already has an injury. That meniscus tear might turn to a bigger tear, and then you lose him for the entire next season when you need him. So I get it on both sides, but I do lean more towards Crosby's.
I have a two-parter. Who do you think is the offensive rookie of the year, and who do you think is the defensive rookie of the year in your opinion? For offensive rookie right now, we have Tyler Shuck, quarterback for the Saints, and we have Tator McMillan for the Panthers. I believe those are the top two guys right now, based on all the articles. What are you thinking on that one?
Did Shuck start all season?
He
I don't
didn't.
think he
No.
did.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't think he
But they're
did,
not holding it against him though.
which is dumb.
Well, you
Which is
also got
dumb.
guys like Emeka Ibuka. You have Tyler Warren. So those guys are all on the list. But
Who
I think
who I would say mm, I would say the 2 that deserve it the most, I would say Tyler Warren would be number 1 because he made the biggest impact, and Cam Ward, because Cam Ward obviously made a big impact with the Titans and gave that organization kinda hope. Uh, I would say that, and nonetheless too, they both started the entire season. So, I think Shuck going in halfway, I don't think he should be a finalist at all. Sure, he
well, he
might have done
is.
well.
He is
Same
though.
with Ibuka, right? I think that's bullcrap
Hmm.
because I mean I even think that the NFL MVP award, aka the quarterback award, is bullcrap. But whatever. We'll let that be what it is. I think Tyler Warren and Cam Ward should be the most deserving. Who do I think would win it out of Shuck and McMillan? I would say McMillan just because McMillan's played more.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't I can't get behind some dude coming in halfway and all of a sudden he's rookie of the year. Like, no, I that's stupid to me.
Okay. Before we go to defensive player, I would say like I agree with McMillan. He's had 66 receptions, 929 yards, and 7 touchdowns. I think if he gets 1,000 yards, like playing against the Tampa this week,
Yeah.
then I would say for sure. But Tyler Shuck has been good, man. I will say that. Tyler Shuck, just for the games he's played, I can tell you exactly how many he's played. Let me look it up for you. He has played, so he's played 10. So he's going to play 11 games total. So it's not a lot, but mind you, he was a backup. So they had
Mm.
started, I forget who they started first. Um,
Who was that? Rattler?
Rattler.
Rattler?
That's who they started. Yeah. But he's he's done pretty well. Sorry, let me pull it up. He's done pretty well. His stats this year is a 67.8% completion percentage. That's pretty good. He's thrown for over
Mm.
2,000 yards. He has 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's about 7.28 yards per attempt. That's highest out of any of the other quarterbacks because Cam Ward's at 59.6, Shador's at
Yeah.
57.4, and Jackson Dart's at 63.2. Obviously, we're tired of all these QB awards, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has a really good game this week against Atlanta if they don't give it to him. I think really it's just
Yeah.
going to come down to who has that best game in week 18. And I think that's who's going to snag it. But on the sake of your argument, which I agree with you, I believe Tator McMillan should get it because I think because he played all year, he's most deserving. So I do
Yeah.
agree with you there. Um, so for defensive rookie of the year, I'm going to start because I will forget how to say his name. There is a rookie standout linebacker from the Browns who I really like this year. His name is Carson Swessinger. he's been going off this year, dude.
Yeah.
Like for me, that's hands down my rookie of the year for defensive player.
I agree. 100%.
58 solo tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2 interceptions. This guy's involved in like every play. It's wild to see him out on the field. And it's wild considering that they drafted Mason Graham with their first overall pick, and they grabbed this guy. I don't even know where they grabbed him at. In the second round, 33 overall. And let me see. I'm gonna tell you his stats. Does it have his stats? So he has 141 total tackles this year. That's pretty good for a rookie, dude. That's pretty good.
Solid.
Dude, 6'3", bro, from UCLA. That's huge. That's a huge linebacker,
that's
bro.
A monster of
that's what a guy, dude. But I think hands down for me, he should win it. I don't even think it should be a contest at this point.
I agree.
Okay, I'm glad we agree on that one. So we're gonna get into some of these little talks here. I know X is gonna get a little upset, but who should be the MVP? So I should say who should be, who's gonna win. Okay, so the current favorite is Drake May at -400. Fair. Matthew Stafford at +300. Trevor Lawrence, everybody else is wild. It's like Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, Bo Nix. Because of course it's quarterback. Who do you think deserves it?
Who gets the quarterback award? I would say it would be May. Okay. I think he deserves it.
So I agree. I think with Matthew Stafford absolutely having a terrible game last week, that really hurt him in the MVP race. And obviously Drake May just threw 5 touchdowns against the Jets. So it's looking really good for him. But if it were me, which I would like them to not just give it to a quarterback every year, because I do think there are some running backs, like last year I thought Saquon should have gone it. For me, it would be Christian McCaffrey, actually. And I know it seems a little biased, but he's the best running back in football right now. He's played every week. As of this past week, he has 303 carries, 1,179 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns, and that's not even his receiving. So his receiving this year, he has 96 receptions for 890 yards. He almost has 1,000 season, and he has 7 touchdowns receiving. That's pretty good, bro. 1,000, and he's at 17 touchdowns this year as a running back. Yeah. That's pretty good. But that's just kind of where my head is at with that personally. But you can agree or disagree on that.
I would say someone else deserving would probably be Smith-Njigba. Dude just kind of popped out of nowhere. It was just running as the number 1 wide receiver like all year pretty much. So no injuries coming from him, consistent play. As a wide receiver, I like him. I think he was good.
My receivers beat Puka, but he got hurt. So
right, and that's the thing with Puka, dude, is if he just would not get injured every single play, then he'd be good.
So this next one, it's going to be kind of a hot take. I don't know if you read it or not yet, but I think the Bengals could have won it all this year if Joe Burrow stayed healthy. Is that a hot take, or is that fact? Or is it fact, or is that cap? Honestly, in my heart of hearts, I truly believe if Joe Burrow was healthy, they'd have the best shot in the AFC, dude. Honestly, I do. I really do.
I don't think so, because they're in the same position as every other good offensive team where their defense just Swiss cheese, dude. Swiss cheese. And I think if their defense was even just okay at best, they would have a good chance. I would be more on board if their defense was just a small bit better.
Okay. All right. Well, I know that was pretty hot, but honestly, I just do. Maybe I'm a Joe Burrow glazer, maybe I need to come on the debate and talk about that. But the next one I got is, can the 49ers win it all with a win in week 18? So when I say win it all, is that they're going to, if they win in week 18, they get the number 1 seed, everything plays through San Francisco. Do you think they can win it all? Everything. Wow. You don't think so? So let me say this. So because you said no, because my second part was, well, if not, what would need to happen for them to be competitive for this season? What can they do going into with a week rest in playoffs to be competitive, to even have a shot?
In my opinion, if Seattle loses, because Seattle is my front runner, if Seattle loses, I would feel much more confident. I think right now their ceiling is championship, NFC championship. If Seattle loses, I would not be 100% surprised. I would say their ceiling would be Super Bowl.
Okay. So what can they do? Is it just strictly if Seattle's there or not? Or do you think there's key players that can come back or people they can sign that would change that for them? Warner, who is coming back.
If he comes back, it'll help. But I do believe
they were still playing good with him there.
I do believe that if Seattle gets beat, then they should be good.
See, I have a different theory on that. So I'm not worried about Seattle. And I mean, maybe it's just, my bias past with them.
Right.
For me, it's really the Rams. The Rams have been the only team that has gone to San Francisco and beat them, just like we've gone into SoFi and beat them.
Right.
We call it Levy South. They're the scariest team. It's just because they have our number. Obviously in the Eagles because of the playoff experience. I mean, like we do too. But because of not just my sources, but you can look this up online, Fred Warner should be back. And I don't know if it's the NFC Championship game or if it's going to be after that first wild card week. So if the Niners have the number 1 seed, that is giving me as a fan a lot of hope that there could be something because that defense needs help. I think the offense is okay. Obviously, you need Brock Purdy to still play well. Like he needs to play what he's playing today every week. And that's the big if.
He's my biggest concern.
Sure. For sure.
He's my biggest
concern. I said at the beginning of this, I will be pessimistic about him because whenever I start saying good things about him, he absolutely craps the bed. So I'm not going to start now. But I do think
you want to know why it dawned on me when you started talking. It's because the San Francisco, they're so fragile. If CMC goes down, you guys are done.
Oh, we're cooked. Yeah.
If Purdy plays like crap, you guys are done. If Kittle goes down, you guys are probably done. You guys are so fragile, and that's my problem. Where in other teams, I feel like they're not as fragile. So that's where I come in. So it didn't click until you started talking about it. And then you started naming off all the big players. And I was like, dude, if they lose any one of those, like the whole dynamic of the team just starts to crumble. Like, not like, man, like kind of missing this guy, man, this really sucks. Like it's going to be an uphill battle, but we could do it. Like, no, the team like completely falls apart. So,
yeah, I mean, I think anytime you lose a star player, right? That's like if the Rams lost Puka, right? Do you think the Rams lost Stafford? I mean, you're cooked. The Niners are in the best position out of any team that loses a quarterback because we got a guy who I think is honestly better.
Right. You got Mac Jones, which is fine. But the problem is, though, is if Purdy's playing bad, they're not going to sub him in.
No,
they're just going to stick with Purdy.
Right.
That's where also one of my problems comes in. But like if Puka goes down, not a problem. Rams ran with Devontae the entire time. Devontae was fine. Corum went down. They didn't have a problem. They still had Kyren Williams. Even if Kyren Williams goes down, they still got Corum. Like, there's so many versatile options there to where it's not a problem. So that's why for me, like San Francisco, like that's probably my main concern.
So yeah, just to kind of piggyback one last time, like I see where you're coming from, and I do agree, but I do think that any injury, big name injury in the playoffs is going to affect anybody, no matter what. This is one and done, right? There are some players though that are available that I think can help. So obviously, if Fred Warner comes back, yeah, that's a big one. That's the best player on our defense. Trevon Diggs just got released.
I know. I was waiting for it.
Just got released. I'm not the biggest fan. I will say that he gets burned a lot because he plays for the ball. Okay. He tries to go for the interception, gets burned, and someone runs for a touchdown. Ricardo Green's hurt, our second cornerback. We have a lot of rookies. Robert Saleh is probably one of the best defensive coordinators in football right now. I mean, no one can really deny that. He's had nothing and turned it into something. If he runs through waivers, I don't see why San Francisco doesn't go out and get him. And especially if they can get that 1 seed, it just makes a lot of sense to go grab him and put him as your slot corner or as your 2 guy. We don't have anybody else. What's it going to hurt? You know, an all guy who's an all pro.
As of right now, from what I saw, was Chicago is trying to get him.
Oh, I bet.
I know Chicago players are trying to recruit him for sure.
Sure.
So,
but if he's like, hey, I want to win a championship, he might be like, well, who has the 1 seed? Who do I got time to play with? I mean, he's probably going to decide after the season's over. I don't think he'll decide in week 18 because he won't need to. Yeah. So that's just the thing I wanted to throw out. That would make it really interesting, I guess, is what I'm saying. I just got a couple more for you. You're going to like this one. What's going on with the Lions, bro? Like, what is happening? Like, their loss to the Vikings cost them the playoffs. Like, the first week they looked like crap, week 1, and then they played progressively better. Amon-Ra was playing good. Jameer only put up like 6 fantasy points this week. Like, what is happening? Like, is it a Dan Campbell thing? Is it the missing of Ben Johnson, or is this something that I'm not seeing here?
It's the running back issue. Running back issue. You didn't feed Gibbs. You didn't feed Gibbs. It's as simple as that. I say it every week. I don't know what I got to do to get every NFL offensive coordinator to watch this podcast and hear me ramble on like a madman to finally get them to realize you're trying to reform the wheel, dude. Just let it be. Just let it be. Just run with Gibbs. It'll fix all your problems. That'll open up the pass game for Goff. Goff will have better coverages with Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra. Yeah. And you got Laporta too. So, I mean, what
he's hurt, but yeah.
But regardless.
Yeah, when he was there, I agree. I do agree. The next one I got for you is the DK Metcalf controversy. So if you're not aware of what's going on with that, he grabbed the fan and smacked the hell out of him. Do you think that that's going to cause the Steelers to fumble the AFC North and not make the playoffs this year?
No, because I don't think DK was making that much of an impact anyways. He was making somewhat of an impact in certain games, but other than that, he wasn't making the impact that they were hoping that he would. And I think they thought if they gave Aaron Rodgers, a big target, what they should have done is they should have kept Pickens and got DK. That would have been solid, but they fumbled that. So they fumbled it well before the season even started.
Do you think that the Panthers can upset the Bucs and secure the NFC South this week?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
But with the caveat now that if Atlanta wins, it's over. The Bucs can't win.
Yeah, let's assume Atlanta loses.
Right.
But Carolina, they play well at the end of the season. Do I think they'll go far? No. Do I think that the Bucs would be a better option? Yes. But I still think that Carolina ends up winning it. Tampa Bay is in a full meltdown right now, even when they're healthy. So, they just got to figure it out. And I don't think this is going to be the season for them to figure it out.
That's fair. 2 more. I'm going to add 1 more. Will Myles Garrett become the sack single season record holder after week 18?
No.
No. Really?
I don't think he will.
Wow.
I like him. I really hope that he does, but I don't think he will. I don't think he will. If he because they are playing who again? Remind me off the top of my head.
I have to look. They are playing.
I know. See, I was in the same boat.
Let's see. They are playing the Bengals. Not a very good offense or defense. Offensive line or defense.
But with them playing against him, against Joe Burrow, I don't think Joe Burrow is going to allow that to happen. In my opinion, he'll pull a Rodgers. He'll just throw that ball away. He's not going to allow it to happen.
That's
not
too bad.
To him.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Like I really hope he does it, but it is what it is.
Yeah. The last one I had for you is it's not really, it's more of like a statement just because we kind of talked about him. So people are like, what do you mean by the Stephon Diggs controversy? So Stephon Diggs is facing a felony charge of strangulation and a misdemeanor charge of assault from alleged incident on December 2nd. There was a motion that took place. The police report said that a woman went to the police December 16th and shared that she was working as a private chef on the day of the incident in question when Diggs entered her unlocked bedroom and allegedly smacked her across the face after they had discussed money owed to her. So that is not a good look. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Maybe he'll appeal.
Settle.
Maybe. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But if the Patriots do not have him, it's going to be rough. They just put Matt Collins on IR, so I don't know if he's going to be back for the playoffs.
Well, they still got the boy Booty. So
yeah, but they're looking a little thin. I'm not gonna lie, they're looking a little thin.
I can agree.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So I just kind of wanted to give you some NFL news of exactly what's happening. And like we said earlier, Trevon Diggs is now a free agent. I think he wanted to play and they wanted to shut him down, so there was a conflict of interest. I think he was on the books for 1 more year, but they just cut him. So they were just like, "Hey, you're done." And now he's on the waivers, and we'll see what happens. There's teams that would probably love to have him for the playoffs. So I can imagine that someone will pick him up for the playoff. Hey, everybody, thanks for sticking around. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. That really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. You can check out this episode on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, or you can go to our website, www.encinasunfiltered.com, where you can check out all our episodes, all of our different links, all of our socials, and anything Encinas Unfiltered related will be there. As a reminder, we do have our membership program running through February for 99 cents. Our Legend tier, which is the highest tier of our membership, where you can get access to our Discord, early access to videos and shorts. It's really great for 99 cents. You really can't beat it. One-on-one fantasy advice. Please check out Fantasy Royale Week 18. It's free. The $1,000 bounty is still live. Takes you about 30 seconds to fill out. You can see the link in our description to go ahead and sign up for that. This is the last week until playoffs, and I believe he's going to do a playoff bracket, sort of like March Madness-esque type of thing. So check that out too for lots of prizes and money as well. And as a reminder, it's all free. So if people keep asking me, it's free. One last thing, you check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we're on it. It's all at Encinas Unfiltered. On Twitter is at Encinas UF. Like I said at the beginning of this, keep an eye out for our 2026 draft kit. It'll be August of 2026. Check out that episode. Xavier, myself, and maybe one other person will be working on that to bring you everything you need for your fantasy football needs. And keep an eye out for the great debate. So if you're a member, you'll have first access to that video. And for the public, it will be released at a later date. But it's the great debate. It's Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders. It was a very interesting back and forth, both stats and opinions, I will say, debate. And I know the boys had a lot of fun filming it. So go ahead and check that out. Until next time, everybody. Peace.